Are you feeding that filthy thing again? He's not a customer, he's trash. Forks paused midair. A spoon clinked against a ceramic mug. The manager's voice had sliced clean through the soft jazz playing overhead, loud enough to snap tension. Into the room, a few patrons froze. One woman looked down, pretending not to hear. A man adjusted his tie and stared into his coffee. Eva didn't move. She gently set the bowl of soup in front of the old man, steam curling up like it was shielding. Him, back doors for beggars. You want to hand out charity? Do it on your own damn time. Eva turned slow. He served this country. The manager scoffed. Yeah? And what's he serving now? Rats behind the dumpster. The old veteran didn't lift his head. Didn't flinch. Just pulled the soup close and muttered a thank you with cracked lips. Eva's hands were still. Her face was unreadable. He comes here once a week. Don't ask. Just sit. Yeah, on my seats in my cafe. Making decent folks uncomfortable. You mean the ones watching and pretending they don't see him? The manager stepped closer. His voice a stage whisper now. Look, sweetheart, this isn't your little protest spot. You don't get to turn my cafe into a soup kitchen just because you want to play savior. You work here. You follow my rules. Eva didn't blink. He hasn't eaten in 2 days. And I haven't had time to fire someone in 2 weeks. He leaned in. Congrats on breaking that streak. Gasps from table 4. From the woman pretending not to listen. Eva's jaw clenched, but she didn't look away. Get your things, the manager said. And tell your hero to finish up before the cops finish their coffee. One of the officers in the corner booth looked up briefly and then right back down. Eva didn't cry. She didn't speak. She walked to the back, untied her apron, and came back out just as calm. The veteran tried to rise. She touched his shoulder gently. I'm all right, she said quietly. You're better than all right, he said, voice scratchy. You're human. That's rare these days. She squeezed his hand. The door closed behind her. 3 minutes passed 4. The cafe went back to its soft clinking. Its forced calm until the front door slammed open. Boots, 4 sets, camouflage, and silence fell harder than before. A tall black man in full marine, dress blue, stepped forward first, his ribbons catching light like medals of judgment. The second marine was pale, the crew cut sharp. The third Latino with a scar across his cheek. The fourth? Massive, silent, eyes locked on the manager. The leader scanned the room. His voice, when it came, was low but carried. Which one of you fired her? The manager blinked. Excuse me? The Marine stepped closer. Eva, which one of you humiliated her in front of a man who earned more honor in one war than this whole cafe has in 10 years of business? The manager's eyes darted. This isn't who even are you people? We're her brothers, said the Marine. We've bled for this country, and we don't take kindly to disrespecting someone who does more for its soul than its flag. She broke protocol, the manager stammered. It's a business, wrong answer. The fourth Marine set something down on the counter. A medal, Bronze Star. She earned this, not from combat. From us, for feeding the forgotten, week after week. While men like you pretended not to see. The veteran at the corner wiped his eyes with shaking hands. The Marine leaned in. Now, you've got a choice. Public apology with her name back on that board. Or you deal with what happens when 4 Marines decide your Yelp page isn't your biggest problem. The room held its breath. Okay, the manager croaked. Okay, I didn't know she meant that much. The Marine didn't smile. He nodded once to the old man. You good, sir? The veteran saluted, weak but proud. Yes, sir. The Marines turned, but just before leaving, the leader looked back. Tell Eva we'll see her Sunday. She's still part of our unit. Door closed. Silence remained. But something in the cafe had changed, and it wasn't going back. The cafe manager was pacing, hands twitching, tie loosened. Sweat creeped into his collar. "You can't just walk in here and," he muttered, voice low. "This is a business. This is my damn cafe." But no one was listening to him anymore, because the old man still seated, still clutching the empty soup bowl, had stood up, slow, fragile. But there was something in his eyes now. Something that hadn't been there before. A quiet fire. "She fed me for 8 months, he said, to no one and to everyone. Didn't ask for thanks. Didn't ask for attention. Just left soup on the corner table, like I was invisible. Or sacred. A woman at table 4 turned. That was her?" He nodded. "She used to bring an extra sandwich on Fridays," said a barista from behind the counter. "Told me it was for her uncle nearby. I didn't even know he was real. She never clocked it," said another. "Never asked us to cover her tips. Just did it." The manager spun toward the staff. "So now you're all against me?" "We're not against you," said the Latino waiter, crossing his arms. "We're just not lying for you." The room went still. The manager gripped the counter. "Look, I didn't know she was connected to Marines, or a vet, or whatever this is." "That's the problem," said a voice in the back. The door had reopened, but it wasn't one of the Marines. It was a woman in a tan suit, her heels sharp against the wood floor, clipboard in hand, glasses perched on her nose like they could cut glass. "Name's Fallon. I'm the district compliance officer. Got an anonymous report about unlawful termination." She flipped the clipboard. Funny how fast word travels when the military's involved. The manager's face was drained of color. "Wait, this was a misunderstanding. I didn't fire her. She walked out. She walked out after being publicly berated for feeding a veteran with a Bronze Star and medical discharge." Fallon raised a brow. "That about right?" She asked the room. Heads nodded. "Wanna explain that to my recorder?" She added, pulling out her phone. But before he could answer, the veteran stepped forward again. "She saved me more than once," he said. "From hunger, from frostbite, from loneliness." He reached into his coat and pulled something out. A photograph. Faded, torn at the edges. It showed a young Marine, black, smiling, holding a child. "She lost her brother in Iraq," he said. "Didn't talk about it much, but I knew. Saw it in her eyes." The staff looked at each other. "She said it hurt to walk past the VA," the veteran continued. "So instead, she did something. Quiet, small, every week. For strangers." Fallon slowly lowered her phone. The manager sputtered. How was I supposed to know all this?" Fallon started. "That's the point. You didn't ask." He opened his mouth, closed it again. In the silence, the barista moved from behind the counter and picked up Ava's apron from the hook. She laid it gently on the center table. No one touched it. The cafe, for the first time in years, felt sacred. "You see that video? I was there." "No way. That was the same cafe?" "Swear on my mom's cat." The clip was everywhere by morning. A shaky phone video posted by a teenager who'd sat by the window with her boba tea and homework. It showed the door bursting open, the 4 Marines, the words, "Which one of you fired her?" It cut off right after the metal hit the counter, but that was all it needed. The post? 3.2 million views by sunrise. Hashtag spreading like sparks from a fire. Hashtag justice for Eva. Veterans deserve soup. Hashtag 4 Marines. And as Poon at the local barbershop, the regulars were already debating. "Girl risked her job for a man nobody wanted to see," said Marcus, trimming a fade. "That's more than half this city's done." "She didn't just risk it, she lost it," said Terrence from the back. "And still didn't yell, didn't even post about it. That's dignity." Across town, a teacher paused mid-lecture to pull up the video. "Why do you think this matters?" she asked her class. "Why are people angry?" A student in the back said softly, "Because everyone saw someone good get punished while the bad guy ran the register." On the cafe's front window, someone had taped a note. "Eva, if you ever open your own place, will be your first line out the door." There were 5 signatures underneath. Then 10. Then 40. A reporter called the cafe asking for comment. The manager hung up. By noon, City Councilwoman Denise Harper was holding a press conference. "I've already spoken with the Department of Labor. If any policies were violated in that firing, there will be consequences. But more than that, this incident reminds us of a deeper rot, where kindness is punished and cruelty is protected by ignorance." She paused, "And let me be clear. Ava didn't ask us to speak for her. That's what makes this louder." In the background, the veteran sat on a folding chair, wearing a clean coat someone had left anonymously. He didn't speak. He just watched, back at the cafe. Business slowed. No one wanted to sit where Eva once stood. The manager pulled the sign from the window twice. Each time, someone taped up another. Then came the emails, from news outlets, from churches, from Marines, even from a woman claiming to be Ava's high school teacher. Her subject line read, "She once stayed after school to feed a janitor. I knew she'd change the world quietly." The staff didn't speak much. They just did their shifts like clockwork, robotic, drained. But the silence wasn't empty. It was pressure. Because no matter how loud the world got, everyone inside knew what started it all. A bowl of soup, calm face, and a woman who refused to look away from the hungry. "Let me be clear, we did not fire anyone. She quit." That's what the cafe manager said into the camera. Pressed suit, a rental backdrop with the cafe logo behind him. A PR rep just off screen, nodding like a bobblehead. "She left during a miscommunication. The Marines misunderstood. We support our veterans. Always have." He smiled like it was scripted. Because it was. The statement aired on the local morning show. And within minutes, comments were rolling in like a flood of fire ants. Miscommunication? You yelled, "Get your things on camera, idiot." 4 Marines don't storm a place for misunderstandings. You're just mad the world saw you act like a jerk to a hungry old man. But he wasn't done. By midday, Eva got her first legal notice. A typed letter slipped under her. Door. Certified. Cease and desist. Defamation. Interference with business operations. Eva stared at the paper in silence. Her hands didn't shake. But her neighbor, Layla, did. "You're not going to stop helping people because of this, right?" Eva folded the letter slowly. "They're trying to scare me. They're trying to silence you." Eva looked out the window. People were still gathered outside the cafe, leaving notes, dropping flowers, even leaving packaged meals on the bench where the veteran usually sat. She nodded. "I don't scare. Easy." But others did. One of the baristas, a nervous kid named Jonah, got pulled into the manager's office. Came out pale, said nothing. Quit that afternoon. 2 employees who'd reposted the Marines' video, their shifts were suddenly cut due to low demand. Even Fallon, the compliance officer, got a call from city attorney's office asking her to pause her investigation until things settled down. She didn't single quotes T. Instead, she released the cafe's violation history to the press. 8 complaints in 2 years. 2 for racial bias. 1 pending suit. The cafe's Yelp page shut down from too many 1-star reviews in 24 hours. Meanwhile, the veteran name, now public. Elijah McKinney was offered interviews, speaking engagements, even a commercial deal. He declined them all. "I don't talk for clicks," he said. "I talk when it matters." Then came the bigger attack. A rumor. Eva wasn't fired, they said. She staged the whole thing. hired actors, used her Marine friends for drama, faked the metal, paid the old man. It spread fast. A fake Reddit thread. A podcast host grinning while saying, "Feels like a woke hoax, doesn't it? Probably a marketing stunt. I mean, who gives soup to a bum for free that long?" The next morning, someone spray painted the word LIAR on Ava's apartment door. That's when Fallon showed up again with a gift. She didn't say anything at first, just handed Eva a small envelope. Inside was a copy of the Bronze Star. Registry. Elijah's name was on it. Eva exhaled for the first time in days. "You're not alone," Fallon said. "They just want you to feel alone." Ava nodded once, and then she did something she hadn't done since the video went viral. She opened her old notebook, the one filled with her brother's handwriting. Her plans. Her idea for a nonprofit that served meals with dignity. She flipped to the first page, underlined, "Don't just serve food, serve hope." Her brother wrote that during his last tour. And today, it felt more real than ever. The ribbon was cheap. Just a strip of red cloth tied between two wooden poles outside a battered brick building on 8th and Cherry. No press, no podium, no mayor. Just a folding table, a cooler full of water bottles, and a woman standing behind a pot of stew. Eva. No cameras, no speeches. Just her. And a handwritten cardboard sign taped to the door behind her. The table. Hot food. No questions. No shame. The first man who walked up didn't say much. He looked like he hadn't spoken in days. Ava just smiled, handed him a bowl, and nodded toward a bench. More came. A woman with 2 kids. A man with a limp and a smile too wide for his worn shoes. By noon, the sidewalk was full, and inside the building, bare bones, dusty tile floors, peeling walls. Volunteers began setting up foldable tables. One of them, the barista who quit. Another, one of the Marines, the scarred one. He didn't say a word, just served bread and cleared plates. At one point, he gently refilled a child's plastic cup without being asked. Across town, the cafe manager was in a meeting with his lawyer. "She can't open a competing food business," he hissed. "We have grounds to sue." "For what?" the lawyer said flatly. "She's giving out soup for free. She's making me look like the villain. You did that on camera." The manager slammed a hand down. "This isn't fair." The lawyer leaned forward. "Neither is the internet. Adapt or shut up." By the end of day 1, the table had fed 87 people. On day 2, 140. Someone brought folding chairs. Someone else donated napkins, forks, and boxes of rice. A church fan dropped off cases of canned food. Eva didn't post any of it online, but others did. Photos, silent videos, time lapses of a growing line, a tweet that went viral, no ads. Number, ego, just kindness, and a woman doing more with stew than most do with power. The cafe tried to respond, a new window sign, "We support veterans." A 10% discount for military ID, a free coffee for a photo, promo, but it rang hollow. Because the veterans who mattered weren't coming. They were on 8th and Cherry. One evening, Elijah walked in and sat beside Eva as she stirred a pot. "I see your brother here," he said quietly. Eva nodded. "I keep hearing his voice." Elijah pointed to the line outside. "He'd be proud." Then something changed. A local principal showed up asking if Ava could provide food for students who skipped lunch due to stigma. Then a city worker asking if she'd help design a pilot program for mobile meals. Then, on Friday, a woman stepped out of a black SUV, sharp suit, press badge. "National Network. We'd love to feature your story." Eva looked up, thought for a moment. Then gently said, "Not yet." "Why?" She glanced at the crowd. "Because the real story hasn't started." And with that, she turned back to her stew. The reporter stood stunned because for the first time in months she had nothing to say. The community hall was packed. Wooden chairs scraped the floor. Folding tables held coffee urns and crumb-coated trays. A mic on a flimsy stand crackled in the center of the room. A paper sign read, "Civic Dialogue, Public Businesses and Community Responsibility." But no one came for dialogue. They came for her. And for him. Eva stood near the back, sleeves rolled, calm face. No makeup, just presence. The cafe manager, already at the front, hair gelled too tight. Smiling like the cameras were still rolling, the moderator cleared his throat. "We'll begin with brief remarks, then open the floor." The manager pounced. "I'd like to start." Of course he did. "I've been a business owner in this city for 11 years, he began, voice smooth. "I care deeply about my customers, my staff, my community, and I'd like to clear up the lies being spread about me online." He gestured at Eva. No one was fired. There was no discrimination, just a misunderstanding. And instead of resolving it privately, some chose spectacle. The room shifted, chairs creaked, eyes narrowed. Then a hand rose. An older woman, crisp blouse, stern look. "I was there that day," she said. "You yelled at her, loud. You humiliated." A veteran, murmurs. The manager raised his hands. "Ma'am, I don't recall yelling." "You screamed that he was trash." Double quotes, gasps. Another voice. "My son was recording from our booth. You want us to play it back?" The manager's smile faltered. Then, slowly, Eva walked to the front. No rush. Just gravity. The moderator moved aside. Everyone else just waited. She looked at the crowd, then turned to the manager. "You remember the first thing you said when I handed him that bowl?" He blinked. "You said, 'We don't serve people like him.'" She paused. "Then you made it clear you meant me too." His jaw twitched. "That's not true." "You fired me for kindness," she said. "Then you tried to spin it, paint me as disruptive, a liar, a nobody." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a laminated photo. It was old, worn. Her brother, in uniform, smiling. He was 23. When he died, he told me once, "The world doesn't change when powerful people get louder. It changes when quiet people refuse to back down." She looked up. "That's what I did, and I'm not sorry." The room broke into applause, low at first, then rising, not loud, but solid. Then came Fallon. District Compliance Officer. Clipboard tucked under her arm. She walked up and handed a folded letter to the manager in front of everyone. He unfolded it, lips moving silently. His face dropped. "What is that?" Someone whispered. Fallon spoke clearly. "Final notice of public censure. Civil violation confirmed. Unlawful termination. Public discrimination." Murmurs exploded. The manager stuttered. "You can't, there's no proof." "There's video, witnesses, and your Yelp response where you called her emotionally unstable. That helped a lot." Laughter, sharp, brutal. He dropped the paper. Eva didn't gloat. She just stepped back. But then Elijah, the veteran, stood up near the side door. "I've eaten alone for 10 years, he said, voice raspy. "No home. No family. No medals I cared about." He nodded toward Eva, until her. "She didn't look at me like I was trash. She looked at me like I mattered." He turned to the crowd. "Now tell me, what does that make her, and what does that make him?" The silence that followed? It was the sound of a man being uninvited from his own community. It was Sunday. No press. No commotion. Just clinking spoons, folding chairs, and the low hum of people eating with dignity. Eva stood behind the serving table at the table, ladling out stew. Her motions were quiet, efficient, gentle. The lines were longer now. Students, janitors, a nurse in scrubs. A man in a business suit who whispered, "I just needed the silence." She smiled at each. Said nothing extra, just as her brother had done during mission serve without speech. Lead without spotlight. Then she heard it. Boots, but not the usual stomp of Marines, polished shoes. Someone different. She looked up. A woman in military dress blues stood at the edge of the sidewalk. Silver oak leaves on her collar. Tight bun. Hands behind her back. Eva froze. So did the ladle. The woman stepped forward. She looked familiar, but older now. Eva McKinney? The officer said gently. Eva blinked. Yes? The woman nodded once, reached into her coat, and pulled out a small box. Velvet. Worn. She opened it slowly. Inside was a medal. Not military. Civilian. The Presidential Citizen's Medal. Eva stared. I'm Colonel Alana Brooks. Your brother served under me. Eva's breath caught. Colonel Brooks continued, voice steady. Before his last deployment, he wrote one letter. Not to us, to you. She reached into her other pocket and pulled out a folded envelope, creased a dozen times but still sealed. I found it in his effects, she said. I kept it because I didn't know if it would hurt you more than help you. But after everything I've seen this week, I think it's time. Eva's hand shook as she took it. Her name was on the front. All caps, Eva, and a smiley face. In the corner his signature. She opened it slowly. The words inside weren't long. If you're reading this, I didn't make it back. But I'm not writing because I'm scared. I'm writing because I know you'll survive. The world's going to get colder, meaner. But you've got something they can't touch, your damn stubborn kindness. Feed one soul. That's all it takes to fight back. You always said you couldn't serve like me. But Eva. You're doing more than I ever did. Keep going. Even if they don't clap. She read it twice before folding it gently. No tears fell. But her chest rose then sank. Like something had just let go. Colonel Brooks handed her the medal box. This one's for civilians who shaped the soul of a nation. Eva whispered. I didn't do anything loud. Exactly, Brooks replied. You just fed the forgotten. And reminded the rest of us who were supposed to be. Behind them, the line had stopped. Someone clapped once. Then again. Then others joined, but Eva didn't turn toward the applause. She turned back to the pot. And ladled stew into the next bowl. Quietly. Powerfully. Like always. The first school called on Monday. Hi, the principal said, awkward and hopeful. We're wondering if your team might help us redesign our free lunch program. Eva paused. Redesign how? We just want the kids to stop feeling like charity cases. She smiled gently. You want to feed them without making them feel poor. Exactly. The second call came from the mayor's office. Eva, we're launching a new citywide food initiative. No press, no names. We just need someone who knows how to do this without turning it into a photo op. Eva said nothing at first. Then, only if it stays local, no national rollout, no brand deals. The woman on the phone hesitated. You're saying no to funding? I'm saying no to spotlights. You can't fix shame with lights. You fix it with eye-level serving spoons. There was a long pause. Then, understood. By Friday, the table had expanded to 3 more locations. One in an abandoned church kitchen. One in a school basement. And one by surprise in the back room of the very cafe where Eva was fired. Not run by the owner. By the staff. The ones who'd quit. The ones who stayed silent too long. They pooled tips. Brought rice from home. They didn't tell the manager. Just did it. And when he found out, he threatened legal action again, until a note was taped to his office door. You once told her, we don't serve people like him. Turns out she does. And now so do we. The staff across town. Kids stopped hiding their free lunches. Schools added dignity meals to menus. No separate lines. No difference in packaging. At City Hall, Councilwoman Harper introduced the EVA clause. Any city-contracted business that humiliates patrons or staff over kindness will be subject to immediate review. It passed 9-0. One day, Elijah stood near the back of the original table, watching a volunteer hand a sandwich to a teenager too proud to ask out loud. Elijah chuckled. "That's the move," he whispered to Eva. "You see that? No eye contact, no questions. Just food in hand like it's no big deal." Eva nodded. Elijah leaned closer. "I think you changed the city." "I didn't," she said. "It was already full of kind people. They just needed to see someone." "Go first," he smiled. "You ever gonna make this an official nonprofit? I'd have to name it." "You already did." She looked over at the window, where a poster hung crooked. A child's crayon drawing, a bowl of soup with the words, "Ava's Table, Sit with Dignity." On social media, the story evolved. The original Marine video became a meme, but the follow-up, clips quiet footage of Ava handing out food or organizing shelves, hit differently. They weren't flashy, but they spread faster. One comment went viral beneath. A silent photo of Ava wiping down a table. She didn't burn the system down. She just outgrew it, and now the system's copying her. The cafe? Still open, but business was slow. The manager never smiled much anymore. He tried hiring new staff, tried offering discounts, even printed new T-shirts. But no one forgot, because in the end, you can't rebrand dignity. It started with a headline, bold, slanted, bitter, local hero or master manipulator. Ava McKinney's quiet empire under scrutiny. The article dropped overnight. An anonymous source. Claims of donation mismanagement. Questions about permits. Even photos heavily cropped of Marines loading supplies into the table. Is she building a food operation or a cult of sympathy? Some say her kindness is just PR with better lighting. The journalist? Known for hit pieces, but this one spread fast. Talk radio picked it up. A morning show debated it. I'm just saying, where's the transparency? Do we even know where the food's coming from? Why won't she speak to reporters? Ava sat on the back steps of the Cherry Street location, phone in hand, screen glowing. She read the article once, then again. Then she turned off the phone, set it down beside her, didn't say a word. Fallon came by 2 hours later, holding the phallus folded newspaper. "Don't read it," she said. "I already did. You want to respond? I can help draft something." Ava shook her head. "No, Ava, this could ruin. They already decided who I am." Fallon lowered her voice. "You're allowed to defend yourself." "I am," Eva said softly, "by not playing their game." But the attacks kept coming. A concerned citizens petition launched demanding investigation. Someone spray-painted "Soup Queen equals scam" on the old church kitchen. Even one of the satellite table locations was vandalized, shelves knocked over, bags of rice slashed open. The local news asked Eva for a sit-down interview. Lev, prime time. She declined. Instead, she showed up the next morning. Early. Before anyone cleaned the shelves, restocked, cooked 2 pots of lentils from scratch. Then she did something different. She placed a single placard by the donation box. Handwritten. No speeches. No spin. Just food. If that's a problem, we'll still be here tomorrow. And then, one by one, the city responded. People started reposting the old footage. Again. Clips of her quietly handing out stew. The letter from her brother, Elijah's speech. Colonel Brooks. But this time, they added a hashtag. Hashtag still here, a librarian tweeted. That article called her manipulative. But I've seen her clean my library's bathrooms after feeding people. Who does that for PR? A Marine riposted. She didn't ask us to speak. We stood because she never needed to. A former city inspector wrote, I've watched 100 nonprofits operate in this city. Hers is the only one that doesn't try. To look good, just be good. And finally, a video surfaced. Security cam footage from the night the shelves were vandalized. It showed the cafe manager hat low, gloves on breaking in, trashing food, spraying graffiti, trying to make the damage look like public outrage. The city froze, the story flipped. The cafe was shut down within 24 hours for obstruction, defamation, and criminal damage. No press statement. No rescue PR. Just a locked door and a new sign on the glass. Closed for good. Back at the table, Eva stood before a pot of stew. She looked up as Elijah walked in, holding a fresh broom. I heard the news, he said. Eva nodded. They tried. One last time. And, she smiled, we're still here. 3 years later, the cafe is a bookstore. Bright windows, soft jazz. A small reading corner where the coffee station used to be, but the back room, the one that once hid a stolen act of kindness, still serves meals. Now part of a city program. Ava's Table, Cherry Street branch. A plaque on the wall says only, no questions, no shame. Just food? The woman herself? Still no social media. Still no interviews. Still ladling soup once a week at the original table on 8th and Cherry. A little older now, a few gray strands near her temples. Her steps slower but steady. Elijah passed 6 months ago. She held his hand when he left. Called the VA. Made sure his medals were polished. He was buried with full honors. The Marines came back for it, all 4. They stood in dress blues, silent, proud, the same way they once stood for her. Today, the city unveiled something new. A park. Bench. Simple. Oak. Smooth finish. Facing the smallest of the table locations. A bronze engraving along the top rail reads, Ava McKinney fed souls. Not for credit, not for headlines. Just because it was right. No mayor showed up. No press fans. Just people. People she fed. People who copied her. People who still remembered the moment 4 Marines made the world freeze for a woman who refused to look away. At the edge of the gathering, a young girl stepped forward. Thin braids. Oversized hoodie. She held something in her hand. A laminated photo. Ava's brother. Smiling. Eva turned. Stunned. Double quotes. Where did you get that? My mom, the girl said. She said he once helped her. At a shelter, she never forgot him. Eva knelt, her voice caught. What's your name? Faith. Ava blinked. The girl held out a folded paper. Can I show you something? Ava opened it slowly. Crayon drawing, a long table, lots of bowls. A woman with a gray bun and a big smile. A cross. The top, sit with dignity. Later that day, after the bench was empty, Eva sat down. No ceremony. No speech. Just silence. She reached into her coat, pulled out her brother's letter. She read it again, like she always did on days like this. Only this time when she got to the final lines, You're doing more than I ever did. Keep going. Even if they don't clap, she whispered back. I did. She folded the letter, tucked it into the bench's underside, sealed in plastic. Hidden from the world. Then she stood. Turned. And walked back to the kitchen. There were still mouths to feed and dignity to serve, because legacies aren't built in noise, they're built with quiet power, one bowl at a time.